If you follow me on Instagram, then you might have seen me post some stories recently just showing my absolute despair and upset at one of my locations, favourite woodlands, currently being logged. I'm absolutely devastated about this, and I know these things happen, but it doesn't make it any easier. The local woodlands that I photograph, they mean a huge amount to me. And it's for reasons way beyond the photography. So I first discovered this location back in March 2016, and it's been a place of solace, of calm and relaxation, and it's played a huge part in my own development, not only as a photographer, because it has helped to shape my photography, but also these are just an example of a place that I used to come just as part of my rehabilitation, as part of my well-being, and just on the road to recovery from having injured my back. So I used to come to these places really quite miserable and uncomfortable, but they always had a positive impact, and I always went away feeling a little bit better. So I do have a very strong emotional connection to these places, and that's all had a huge influence on how I approach them as a photographer. And just connecting with these places and the time that I've spent absorbing myself into them has allowed me to see things and make images and share what I believe these places mean to me, and share that experience and everything that I've loved about these places. So it's always very sad, extremely sad to see these places change so dramatically, and the scenes that you've enjoyed to just slowly disappear. But also it means a lot because this is where my journey started on YouTube. So my very first video was done here in December 2016. It all started in this very spot, and I must have done at least 5 videos here since. So it's been really nice just to kind of share everything that I've enjoyed about here and share it through videos, and share some of the kind of my own knowledge and experiences, and hopefully you've enjoyed being on that journey as well. But I thought it'd be quite nice just to show some of the highlights. Like I said, I've done quite a few videos here. I've shared some fantastic mornings down here with Meg. So I think I'm going to enjoy kind of looking back at some of the old videos, but hopefully I'll be able to pick out some really nice bits which you'll enjoy too. But if anything, I think one of the key messages that I want to get across in this video is not a feeling of sadness, but I think just to encourage people just to make the most of everything that they've got on their doorstep, and the locations which they treasure, particularly when it comes to woodlands like this where they can be changed so dramatically, is just to don't take them for granted, because I never expected in a million years that they would start and clear this area. Never in a million years did I expect them to drive some heavy machinery straight through this fantastic valley, but it's happened. And you think of the decades it's been here, and in 4 years after I discover it, they start to rip it down. So really just don't take places for granted. Get out there, make the most of it while you can, because you just don't know. Tomorrow they might just start to wipe it out. So yeah, I'll show some highlights, and hopefully you'll enjoy that, and we can look back at it with some positive memories. Morning. So I've come to one of my favourite woodland spots, a place that I found about a year ago I think, You might be able to tell behind me that it's pretty damn foggy, which means it's full of atmosphere. And I've just come into an opening in the woods down here, which is a favourite little spot of mine. Where's this fallen silver birch, which just lies in this very small valley in the woodland and leads down to a really nice pine tree which just sort of sits perfectly in the middle. So hopefully that'll sort of continue to sorry, I'm just trying to make my way through here without getting smacked in the face. So the big straight one here, that's dad figure. These bendy ones on the left hand side there, they're probably like the stroppy teenagers having a bit of an argument. You've got the one in the middle there, the mediator. Anyway, I'm probably just talking crap, but that's the kind of thing that I see. So I was supposed to have been out with a friend this morning, but then he texted me and said, "It doesn't look like there's any fog, so I'm going back to bed." You messed up there, Paul. I'm getting really quite wet just in this shirt, but it's so humid and warm, just too warm to put a jacket on. And there's no wind, and I'm surrounded by mid-G, so I'm getting bitten to death as usual. So it's kind of bittersweet because there's still this glorious atmosphere, and I've said it before and I'll say it again. Yes, the end goal is to get a nice image, but if you don't, then these conditions in a woodland, it's just a fantastic atmosphere to walk around. I kind of always sort of say to people, don't be happy with the first image that you've taken. Even if it looks good, just keep looking around, move around and see if you can improve upon it. So yeah, I'm going to see if this can make this work, because this tree does look really, really nice. So I just got a bit of a shock when I looked at my watch and it was 3:15. I think I've left the house at 7:45 this morning. So it's been a long day. Well, I mean, I haven't said that. When I first arrived at the location, I was waiting for the sort of snow to build up a little bit more, so I had a bit of a nap in the car for an hour. I'm going to blame all the Christmas indulgence. I think it's kind of bogged me down a little bit. But anyway, fortunately, well, you know, it's going to be dark quite soon. But fortunately, I found one last shot which I really quite like, and the sun just popped out just very briefly and very softly, and gave some nice light on these pine trees. So it's a lovely, peaceful and tranquil morning here in North Yorkshire. There wasn't a strong suggestion of fog in the forecast, but I thought I'd take my chances because there was some lovely mist kicking around in the hills yesterday. So I've come to Woodland, which is a little bit higher. I've been here many times. It's a favourite spot of mine, and I'm so glad that I chose this area because the fog is lovely. It's incredibly calm and quiet. There's not a breath of wind. All the spring birds are out, so there's lots of song. So it's a really lovely, peaceful, therapeutic atmosphere. But there's a bit of a theme for today because at Christmas time I watched Lord of the Rings, as I do quite often at Christmas time, but actually this was the first time I watched it as a woodland photographer, and it was absolutely fascinating. Just Fangorn Forest and all the Ents. It was just lovely cinematic viewing, and I love films like that where there's this kind of feeling of an enchanted forest where it comes to life, and it just lets your imagination run wild and gives me a good source of inspiration and kind of gets me lost in my own sort of thoughts and feelings when I come out into a woodland. So I wanted to kind of use Lord of the Rings as a bit of an inspiration because I've just done this in the past, and so I wanted to kind of redo it for the purpose of a video. And the idea being that I just want to take photographs in a 16:9 aspect ratio for that kind of cinematic feel, and I'm only going to photograph what I perceive to be Ent characters. So, you know, your tree beards and things like that. And it's just a bit of fun, to be honest, but it's also encourages a little bit of creativity by giving yourself those constraints. And I talked about this in a recent video about these creative constraints, but also giving yourself a theme, a purpose, a flow to your work on the day. And it's just, rather than just running around and taking random photographs, it gives me some structure. And then hopefully I can get 3 or 4 images which kind of sit well together as a little body of work from the day, if you like. So this is my original tree beard character. I'll try and make this quick because I have photographed it in a previous video, but in that one the fog had dissipated quite quickly, where it's remained fairly dense here now, so there's a little bit more mood and a little bit more atmosphere. And I'm continuing with the same theme of the cinematic 16:9 aspect ratio, which does work quite well for this. And apart from kind of using the movies as inspiration, the actual theme here obviously is quite apt for what I do, but the end characters themselves are very slow and very purposeful, and that kind of sits quite well, I think, with how I like to approach photography. So the fog is still here. It's very peaceful. I could hear a cuckoo in the background there. The birds are singing, so I'm more than happy to keep it slow, keep it purposeful, take my time, and just really take my time over the decisions that I make and the pictures which I take. So I'd like to put it to you and challenge you to find your own woodland or just any space in nature where you feel comfortable and spend some time there without the camera or any photographic goal. You know, we all need a release from the pressures of life, whether that be relationships, work or health. And taking a walk in woodland helps to relax the mind and put things into perspective. So allowing yourself to relax, re-energize, connect and better understand the places you love to photograph can also offer some creative clarity and a less clouded photographic vision. You know, every woodland and forest is unique and special, so I urge you to get out there and find your own experiences and connection. So it's really simple, it's just about the space, lots of negative space. There are some kind of silver birch saplings dotted just swallowed a fly. There are some